Hi, in this video I'm going to review what are the requirements to apply for asylum in the United States. My name is Rodrigo Canedo. I'm an immigration attorney and I do videos on different immigration topics and how to get legal status in the United States. So if those topics interest you, feel free to subscribe to this channel. Before I go through some of the requirements for asylum, I just want to say if you are currently in the United States and do not have any legal status, or perhaps a visa has expired or something like that, and you're interested in applying for asylum, I just say be very careful if you're not right now in removal proceedings or in immigration court, because if you apply for asylum and it's rejected by the asylum office, you can actually be referred to immigration court and be put in a process for deportation. So just be very careful with that, and I always recommend speaking to an immigration attorney before you decide to move forward with that process. Now, let's talk about the requirements for asylum. So to apply for asylum, you need to show that you will be subject to persecution in your home country if you have to return, okay? Now generally there's 5 categories that you have to fall under. You need to fall under one of these 5 categories, okay? And one of them is you fear persecution because of your race or your nationality, or because of your religion, your political views, or because you fall into a particular social group that would be more vulnerable in your home country to danger possibly if you have to return, okay? So you have to fall into one of those groups. Now, there's a lot of situations that work for asylum. I'll just give you 2 examples. Someone might be eligible for asylum if they're protesting their government. They're not happy with the things are going. They don't like the political party in charge. And that political party or the government sends soldiers or police after them just for protesting them. Okay, that might be one way you could satisfy the requirements for asylum to apply. Another one might be if you are related to someone who is endangered themselves. Maybe someone has been threatened by a gang, and just based on that relationship, the gang said, oh, we're going to harm your husband, we're going to harm your wife, we're going to harm your kids. Okay, and you happen to be one of those family members. That might be another way that you may qualify for asylum just based on a family relationship. Okay, so there's many situations that qualify for asylum when you're going through this process. Okay, so when can you apply for asylum? All right, so you can apply for asylum once you're in the United States, definitely. You can generally also apply when you're like at an entry point, maybe an airport or at a land border of the United States. Okay, another thing to keep in mind is you need to apply within 1 year. All right, so once you're in the United States, don't let a year go by before you apply for asylum. Now, if that is your situation, okay, if you've already been in the United States for 1 year, 2 exceptions to that rule, 2 general exceptions to that rule are a change of circumstances. So say the circumstances in your home country have changed. Maybe you've learned more recently, even though a year has passed, that there's some people looking for you in your home country to harm you. They're making threats against you. So basically, there's a new fear, a new danger has appeared. Okay, so that might be a reason. Another one might be, say the political party in your country has changed, and maybe that political party is a danger to you for whatever reason. And that might be a reason that you might still be able to apply for asylum after 1 year has passed. Another way that you may still be able to apply for asylum even though 1 year has passed is based on extraordinary circumstances. So that could be if you've been ill, you've been sick, okay, and say you haven't realized, you haven't been in good health to even try to apply for asylum. Okay, submit that application and everything that goes with it. Another one that I thought of recently is maybe you've been in a car accident, all right, and you've been immobilized and you're trying to recover. So these are some reasons that maybe you'd still be able to apply for asylum even though you're doing it after 1 year. But generally I'd recommend applying as soon as possible, obviously if you think you qualify, even though you have a waiver to that 1 year, still apply soon afterwards, despite that situation, okay? Whether it's a change of country conditions or health issues or whatever it may be. Okay, so another thing that might prevent you from getting asylum is things you may have done yourself in the past. So if you yourself have persecuted someone, right? The asylum application is based on people who fear persecution. So if you've harmed someone for their religion because of their political views or something like that, then you yourself may not be eligible for asylum. Another one might be if you've committed a particular serious crime, and there's many crimes that may qualify, then you may not qualify for asylum as well. And if you've committed what's referred to an aggravated felony, they would view that as a particular serious crime, and then you may not qualify for asylum because of that, okay? Now, where do you actually apply to asylum? Where do you send that application? So first, the application is called Form I-589, and it depends where you send that application. So let's say if you're in removal proceedings already, you're in immigration court, generally you submit that application to the immigration court. But there are some exceptions to that rule, not always, but usually it goes to the immigration court, okay? It really just depends on your situation, so just be mindful of that. Another one is if you're outside of immigration court, you're not in removal proceedings, then you'd apply to the asylum office, okay, generally. Keep in mind both the immigration court and the asylum office have a very specific way in how you submit that application. They have specific requirements. And if you don't do it right, if you don't send it how they want it, then they might reject it, okay? So obviously you don't want that. So just be very careful of those instructions on how to submit that. And if you don't think you can't, it might be worth it for you to actually hire an immigration attorney to help you with that process. Okay, so that's where you send the application. Now, when you file for asylum, you can actually also help family members, in particular a spouse or child. So if you're married, you have a husband or wife, you can bring them into your application as well and help them get that benefit, get that immigration benefit. Also, if you have a son or daughter under 21 who's not married, you can apply for them as well. They could enter your application. And neither of them themselves have to be victim of persecution or fear persecution or anything like that. They just have to be related to you, okay? So those are the family members you can actually help as well. Something that's also very important to people, right, is the ability to work in the United States, obviously. Now, if you get asylum, you can work with asylum, with that status. But let's say you still haven't gotten asylum and your application is pending. If the application is pending at least 150 days, you can actually apply for a work permit, okay? If your asylum case has not yet been decided, whether it's immigration court, whether it's the asylum office, after 150 days, you can apply for a work permit, all right? And that work permit application is also, you can also apply for a Social Security card as well. So obviously that's also important here in the United States, all right? So just moving forward, if you get asylum, that could actually lead to other benefits in the future. So if you get asylum and you're in the United States for 1 year, and you can document that, then you can possibly apply for a green card or legal permanent residence. And if you become a legal permanent resident, in 5 years you can apply to naturalize and become a U.S. citizen, okay? So this was an overview of, whether you can qualify for asylum. I hope you got something out of it, and thanks for watching.